And I had this idea in my head in that moment. I was like, what if Caffeinated Records one day was like a coffee shop recording studio? And it was kind of this dramatic, like, ah, music cuts. I'm like, yeah, that's never gonna happen. I came up with the name Caffeinated Records to pay homage to the number of late nights that I was spending learning how to record music. I had a vision for like what this logo could look like, and I like sketched it out, and I had this idea, what if Caffeinated Records one day was like a coffee shop recording studio? That's a great idea, won't deny it, but it's a great idea for someone else. So forever and always, it was just like another one of my ideas in the back of my head. So this studio was built to be what it was by a father and son who leased it for about 20 years. And then eventually the time came where, they outgrew it, they moved on from it, and so it became vacant. I was told it was free, it was like available, and that's when it all clicked. Caffeinated Records could actually happen. This could be like the start. And so I signed a lease in the middle of 2020 and Caffeinated Records was started. It's scary to have a decent amount of overhead now because you have a facility, and the biggest thing potential clients are going to look for is, what have you done before? Can you prove that you can actually do this? So it was a mission on the front end to build a portfolio, and I did that with a lot of my friends, but mostly Emily on the front end.
Watches the night, fades into morning, horizon starts glowing.
All of a sudden, Jeremiah had opened a recording studio, and he was like, hey, you want to make some music? And I was like, wait, yeah, I have all of these songs that I just have in my back pocket. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with them. And so it was kind of this win-win where I would get music produced for a pretty decent price because he was brand new and he would have some stuff to put out there. There was an excessive amount of time put into these songs.
And there was even some times that we went a direction, we probably put 30, 40 hours into a song, and I was like, this isn't it. And I scrapped it and we started over.
There was definitely a goal in mind during the production process of if this is not what you want, we're gonna scratch it. We're gonna go with something else. We wanna capture your heart.
But that emotional energy and that effort that we put in, I think was really worth it, because I think we came out on the other side with something that we were all really proud of. And I feel like she had something that felt like her.
Watches the day, turns into nightfall. Lord, you're so faithful.
I have had so many people just share, you put words to things that I'm feeling that I didn't know how to put words to. So it's really encouraging. It definitely makes me feel like it can impact other people, and that makes me just want to put more stuff out there. And yeah, it was a ton of fun. It was a ton of fun.
You're listening to For the Record, conversations about music, mixing, and the creative industry.
For the Record was an idea Jeremiah had to break out into the industry.
It was a really easy ask. Instead of, hey, come record and invest a bunch of money in this thing that you don't know anything about, it was, hey, come and share your story, talk about yourself, and we'll promote you for free.
Got to meet Taylor Swift.
That's pretty cool.
She told me I was meant for this stage, which was pretty cool to hear that from Miss Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
No big deal.
No big deal.
No name dropping here.
Man, how do I make goals, make plans, have visions, and want to get so excited about it, but I never want to get so excited that it's like, wait a minute, what did I just miss?
Music is such a spiritual thing for me. It's my blessing, and it's how I can also give back. So it's like double bonus, because I'm in a spiritual moment for myself. I'm tapped in, and now I'm also tapped in with all these other people, and I'm also enhancing it.
Yeah.
It's a blessing to do it.
I was an interesting child.
Jeremiah has always had very grand visions of things.
I had this whole plot idea for marshmallows living in the pantry, and all of a sudden they discover humanity is out to take them, stab them alive, burn them. And I was like, this story is so good. The only way it's gonna actually go the distance it needs to go is if somebody who really knows about music can like create the film score. At the time, the only person I knew I could think of in my brain who was like a musical person was the guy who did the music for VeggieTales. So I did a little Google search. I found an email address. Kurt Heineke is his name. And so I was like, hey, love your work. Making a movie about marshmallows, need someone to do the music. I'd love it if you did it. Let me know if you're able to do it. He like legitimately responded, and it wasn't just like, I mean, he said no, but it wasn't just like, no, sorry kid, good luck. He gave me like actual practical tips, and he's like, I'd love to see it when it was done. I never finished it. We had our podcast officially launched. We were doing it for several months and it was going pretty well. And we started talking about what were some things we could do to kind of push it to do a little bit more.
And so we were setting up, talking about For the Record, and we were just hanging up in the studio tracking room.
And Ben had the idea. He's like, hey, what if you reached out to the VeggieTales guy that you reached out to way back when? What if you just replied to the email and you're like, hey, this is what I'm doing now. Love to have you on the podcast. And I was like, that seems like me. Let's do it.
So he emailed him and the guy emailed back right away.
And by the end of the conversation, we had this idea, instead of having him come to me, we could go to him and he could actually reach out to some of the other people that he knows in Nashville, and we could make a whole trip out of it and interview a bunch of people in the industry. We talked to Tim Rosenau. He's the lead guitarist for Toby Mac.
I feel like we should hug.
I'd love to.
Wow,
Yeah.
We'll wait
We'll
till
do it later.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. Blair Masters, who's currently the touring keyboardist with Garth Brooks.
Because we're basically just screwing around laughing all day, playing music, and get paid and go home, and it's awesome.
We went to Centricity Music and we interviewed John Mays and Steve Ford, which were the two people that started it. It's a big Christian label with like Lauren Daigle, Need to Breathe, some of those names.
I like to say that watching Lauren sing on stage is like watching Michael Jordan play basketball.
I mean, obviously, Kurt. If you like to waltz with potato. That's not the first line. What is the first line?
Like Kurt's walking him into his creative studio, and Kurt's walking up the stairs, and Jeremiah's behind him looking at the camera going,
Kids, if you're making a movie about marshmallows, that could take you places. It just might not be the movie.
Right, it might not be marshmallow related, but it'll take you places.
Right, exactly.
It'll get your foot in the door.
Yeah. A couple months in to me going full-time at the business, I'm on the grind, we're trying to build things up. I meet Lucas. He had a degree in film and recorded music on the side.
Oh, like this is really cool. Someone else that has ideas and is very passionate about music, and he fit right in with everything we were already doing.
We grabbed breakfast, we talked music stuff, I showed him some stuff I was working on. He later invited me to his studio.
And he was like, hey, I think I'm feeling that I should hire Lucas. And at the time, none of us were being paid at all.
I have done ridiculous things, but like this is involving another person.
when you have people working for you, you're responsible for their finances.
It's like, here's the thing. I feel like God is telling me to hire you. Don't know how I'd pay you. I'm thinking January.
That was kind of a dream job, so I immediately said yes. I didn't care how much I got paid.
And he was like, I think we'll all be official payroll starting January 1st. I was like, okay, great.
I think what I said to him was, wow, that's quite a step. You know, hopefully this will go well.
So January 1st, then we entered as me, Ben, and Lucas, all of us full-time here at the studio.
I love Billy.
Billy's been super fun to work with, and he's a personality for sure.
The first song with Billy that we actually finished was a song he wrote called Forever. The topic of the song was him kind of wrestling with this baggage and talking to this girl that he was kind of heartbroken over. Well, what if we literally had this visual of like baggage, of him just carrying around this giant trash can in places that it shouldn't be?
He had this idea of Billy just carrying a trash can around.
And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Can't you hear I'm sincere when I whisper in your ear that I love you, that I'm into forever.
And eventually there's like this turn where he kind of becomes self-aware that it's a trash can and that like this isn't a healthy part of his life. And he's repulsed by it and he like pushes it away and tries to escape it, but he like can't. Every road he turns, everywhere he looks, it's following him. And so then it ends with him kind of just surrendering to the idea that he's stuck with this baggage, and he climbs into a dumpster and just becomes one with the baggage.
He is one of the goofiest yet sweetest people I've ever met.
Best part, easily, is to hear something back and realizing that I'm good. I'm good. I sound great. I'm proud of myself. What Jeremiah and Lucas did for me was they gave me an identity as a musician.
So for the first couple months that I had Lucas and Ben on staff, you know, God was providing, it was crazy. Things were tight sometimes, but then there was these crazy jobs that happened and like our income was larger than it ever had been. But all of a sudden, things became unsuccessful, like abnormally unsuccessful.
Sometimes I feel like the success of the studio, or the lack thereof, is a direct reflection of me, and I know that's not true, but God, that's what it feels like. The nature of the studio is that it's feast and famine, and when you have no one coming into the studio, you wonder, well, should I have done better? Maybe they would have spread the word more if I had tried harder or gave them a better product.
I had to sit with my teammates for the first time and tell them I couldn't pay them. Which was really humbling. I don't know if humiliating is the word, but it was really, I was disappointed in myself.
I have this weird gut feeling, it could be a God thing, it could be an intuition thing, I don't know, but I have this gut feeling that I'm supposed to be here for a while. And so it's this mixture of fear of getting to a low place and frustration that maybe I'm not doing enough that culminates in this like mental hell that I reside in more than I should.
We're all in this together, figuring it out. It's not like he's getting paid and not paying us.
I went to my church, I found a friend of mine. She's like, hey, how's it going? And I was like, it's okay. And I was like, the short version is I needed $3,400 by Friday, and I didn't get that. And she looked at me and she's like, so I'm gonna give you $3,400. I felt this weight just like come off of me. We were gonna be okay.
One and only, it's about the excitement of starting a new relationship. I wrote it for some stupid girl.
She cries alone at the windowsill, can't sleep without a drink and a sleeping pill.
We were like, okay, what if we had this crappy computer that was like a music video generator, and basically we're like, you know, due to budget cuts, we couldn't make the music video, but here you go, we have this, just do whatever you want, and you'll have a music video.
You sit down and type out anything you want and it shows up on the screen as a music video. That's like the whole idea of it.
What was great about that template is it meant that whatever we shot in there, it needed zero continuity, it didn't need to make any sense.
And we just had fun. Balloons, people in costumes.
And so he sat there flipping this light switch up and down, just looking around at all the people that just don't even know him but showed up to support him anyway. And he's sitting there just processing it while flipping this light switch on and off over and over again. And he told me at the end of it was the happiest day of his life. So like, all around a really warm and gushy day.
Are you winning?
I think so. Caffeinated Records is going to be a music and coffee house. Walk into the front door, straight back you see a giant window into the recording studio. Off to the left, you see the counter with the cafe, and off to the right, you see a stage for live music. But then also there'll be a window into the roastery where you can see all the coffee being roasted.
A big studio, and people can like sit and drink coffee and watch the process or just hang out.
You have to find a plot of land, and a building like that doesn't exist. We have to build one. And
I mean, it may take 5 years, it may take 10 years. It's just being patient and working the steps to get there and not trying to jump over the Grand Canyon all in one week.
I've been learning roasting coffee and getting more of the specifics about it, but I think that's mostly so I can have intelligent conversations with the person who's really passionate about roasting coffee, about running a coffee shop, about caring for the everyday coffee consumer, about creating that culture and that experience.
He wants the community around him, and he wants to build that, and he wants everybody to feel a part of that.
Yeah, he's a brother, not a boss.
So I'm really excited for this next year to see what people join the team and how we can partner with them to continue to gain a reputation of telling people stories and finding stories worth telling.
I know the roastery aspect is still a work in the making, but it's been cool to see the studio side of it just continue to grow and take off.
I know he's gonna put 100% of his effort into this, and I will too.
I still have like this imposter syndrome realization of, oh crap, like this is happening. Like we're doing this.
We're a hometown studio on a big map.
This idea that I had in a basement apartment is like happening, and it's real.